Hello, I'm Cami Green and welcome to After LUTV News Oscar Talk, where we will discuss who will win Best Motion Picture at the Academy Awards with reporters from the University Press. Hooray for Hollywood! It's time to talk about some of the best movies that have seen the silver screen this year. Let's get started. From a musical with girl power and the mob set in Mexico to a biopic about a famous singer, this year's Oscar field has it all. Plus, when you add Russians wanting to destroy a marriage and a gripping tale about a mother being affected by violence, it makes for an interesting race. Panel, who's your pick to win the Oscar for Best Picture?
So my pick is Emilia Perez. It follows Rita Castro, who's a lawyer in Mexico, and she's navigating through wanting to do more and do more than just defending criminals. So it also tackles on social political issues in Mexico. And it's a musical, but it's not your traditional musical.
Got you. And then you?
Yes, so my choice is Anora, which follows a sex worker named Annie as she meets and she has an impromptu meeting with Vanya, a young Russian boy who happens to be the son of a Russian oligarch. And so they impulsively get married, mostly because he offers her money. And then when confronted by his family, like the men who work for his family, he physically bolts out the door, leaving her to be tied up by them and then forced to go find him so she can get this marriage annulled or they'll destroy her life. So.
Whoa. So I feel like my movie is kind of on theme with the foreign film. So my choice for the Oscars is I'm Still Here. It's a Brazilian film and it's basically about husband and father Ruben. He basically spoke out against Brazil's dictatorship and the government, they don't like that at all. So they came to his house in Sol de Janeiro and they took him away from his family, from his home, and he hasn't been seen since. So his wife, Eunice, she she's searching for answers as to why her husband is missing. And she's doing all that while trying to keep her family together. And this has been an issue that has been going on for decades. So she has a pretty hard journey. But I know you guys had two other movies. So what was your other movie?
My other movie was The Brutalist. It follows a Holocaust survivor, a Hungarian Holocaust survivor, Laszlo Toth. And he's navigating, finding his way in the country because he's living on his own. His wife and his niece are still stuck in the concentration camps, and so he's also an architect. So he wants to become an architect, but he's struggling to find his way in the country.
And yours?
Mine is A Complete Unknown, which, from what I could tell, was a very look forward to movie for a lot of people. It followed Timothy Chalamet as Bob Dylan, a younger Bob Dylan in his early music career when he started in folk music and then all up into his very controversial switch to electric music. And it featured a bunch of well-known actors playing very well-known musicians. And it was a very interesting movie. It was historical, but not in the way most historical movies are, because some tend to be a little on the boring side, but this kept it interesting. It kept you on your toes the whole time.
Got you. And then what do you guys think about the cinematography aspect of your movies? Was there any scene that made you feel anything inside or something that you feel the audience would connect to?
For me, it was in Emilia Perez. There was a scene where it focused on the ensemble cast as opposed to the leading cast, and they're singing about their missing family members. So there's people who have a missing father, a missing brother, that they got affected by crime. So it's focusing on the ensemble cast, and I think it makes it a little bit more relatable, and people can connect with that.
Got you. And then you?
For me, now, A Complete Unknown kind of stuck with a simple cinematography to keep it realistic, but Anora was what really caught my attention. Half the time, it was very bright. It was the nightlife, Las Vegas, Brooklyn, bright lights, lots of substances, very exciting, upbeat, really loud music, and then it would be juxtaposed by simple, rustic, almost homely scenes, and then the cold scenes of outside while they're searching, and it the tone and cinematography shifted very quickly throughout it, but it still kept it like a almost stream of consciousness type.
Got you. So you'd say like it had like that nice balance.
Yes.
Got you. And I feel like a scene that stuck out to me, I feel like the scene where they took Ruben from his home. I feel like a lot of people, especially like what's going on inside the world right now with like ICE and everything, you know, just seeing like a family member being taken away from your home. I feel like that's something like a lot of people can relate to. It's something, you know, very, it's a real world thing. And I feel like a lot of people take that and it just hits close to home for a lot of people. So out of the two movies that you guys had, like, which one out of the two, I'm just curious, do you think will take home the Oscar?
I think for me, I'm gonna go with The Brutalist. It has a more connecting theme with debunking the American dream, which I think a lot of people can once again relate to. And it really, it's split into 2 acts because it's a 3.5-hour movie. So Act 1 focuses on his arrival and struggling with the dream of becoming an architect, but he eventually does it. And the second half focuses on reconnecting with his wife. However, his wife is now in a wheelchair, and so he realizes that years have gone by and that his dream of being this huge architect and being recognized isn't all what it makes it to seem, and there's a little more to life.
Got you. And then what of your 2 movies did you like the best?
So I enjoyed Anora more, but I think A Complete Unknown will definitely take the Oscar because it takes a well-known, well-loved figure in music history and others. Like, there were so many like other characters that I just heard the names and I was immediately like, I know who they are, I know what they did. And it takes all that and it makes it interesting, and it uses a very popular actors. Like, Timothée Chalamet is a rising star. He's winning awards left and right, and he's just such a good actor. And I just think that because of the history behind it, the already built-in fan base, and just the quality of the movie itself, it'll win.
Well, on the topic of best actors, you know, one of the actors inside I'm Still Here, Fernanda Torres, she actually won a Golden Globe, and she is actually nominated for Best Actress for the Oscars. I just feel like her ability to like portray grief while like not being melodramatic, which I feel like a lot of actors kind of fall into that, you know, very dramatic role when it comes to grief. But hers was just very relatable, and I just felt like, I don't know, I just feel like that, like, I'm Still Here, like, not to mess with you guys, but I think it's gonna take on the Oscar. But do you have any like last thoughts that you want to share?
I think these 2 movies are really great movies, although they're completely different, and I see why they could take the Best Picture Oscar. So.
And any last words for you?
Honestly, having seen my movies and the movies that everyone else has covered, it's going to be a very, very difficult choice for the people that are in charge of making that decision. I'm glad I'm not.
All right. Well, thank you, panel, and thank you for tuning in to After LUTV News Oscar Talk. The Oscars will air on Sunday, March 2nd at 6 p.m. on ABC and the ABC app. You can also stream the show on Hulu, YouTube, TV, and other platforms. You can read more of our thoughts about the Academy Awards in the latest version of the Lamar University Press on campus and online. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram for more LUTV content. See you next time.